Okay, so today it's a quick tutorial on how to play an easier version of Fade to Black by Metallica. So if you listen to the original version of this song, you can hear that there's an acoustic guitar being played for a long time in the intro, where there's the famous intro guitar solo. I'm not going to show that on this video because this is sort of for beginners really. And then it changes to some distortion later on when you've got your power chords. So this is quite a good song for someone who's pretty comfortable with moving around some power chord shapes, at least on the bottom E string, and you want to start to move it up and down the E and A string a bit. And it's also good for someone who's pretty comfortable with some of the open major and minor chords. So to begin with, we're going to do the strumming clean part at the beginning. Now a little bit about the different guitar sounds in this. You might have seen me use my volume control there, or change a pickup. Something which I like to do a lot, and which real guitarists who play with bands do, is they'll use the volume control to get different sounds out of the amplifier. It means that you don't have to get a load of pedals and distortion pedals and stuff. Of course, that stuff's great to have, but you don't need it straight away to get some different sounds. So if you set your amplifier up so that you've got your gain control turned fairly high, up to anything which is going to give you, with your volume control up on full on your guitar and the pickup selected, which gives you the loudest, sort of strongest, most distorted sound, set it up like that so that when you play a power chord or any chord using the low strings, you've got enough distortion to be able to play the chorus of the song. What you need to do then is just get your volume control, strum a chord, start to turn your volume control down until you hear the sound of your guitar coming through the amp get a little bit quieter. And then if you try and strum some open chords, ones which use all of the strings you're going to be playing, you should get a slightly less distorted and cleaner sound. So compare this. This is volume up, not changing anything on the amp. So volume turned down to about 2 or 3. It sounds like a completely different sound really. And you can go even further with this as well. If you can turn your volume down and quickly switch to a different pickup, you can get cleaner sounds again. So this is volume up, and with my bridge pickup on. Lots of distortion, plenty of distortion. Playing the power chords in this, then volume turned down, and I'm going to switch one position to the right, so that's split this pickup in half. And now we've got a cleaner sound. You're playing 4 chords: A minor, C, G, and then E minor. And your strumming pattern is the same for every chord: down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, down. If you've not yet done a lot of down and up strumming, then you can start off just by doing 4 down strums for each chord. That's completely fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you are one of the people who's not done a lot of down and up strumming yet, I do recommend that you try and count those beats as you're playing this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because then when you start to add the upstroke, the upstrum, you'll know when it happens. You need to try and do the upstrum after beat 2. Let's go again. Try it again, so it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, up, 3, 4. 1, 2, up, 3, 4. 1, 2, up, 3, 4. Okay, now, so some of the chord changes which you're doing are fairly easy in this song. That's not to say that you're going to get them straight away, because as anyone who's picked up a guitar and tried to play chords knows, it's difficult to switch between them. The good thing about this song is 3 of the chord changes are fairly easy. I think 3's right. A minor to C, the only finger you need to move is your third finger. Your third finger moves from the G string, 2nd fret, onto the A string, 3rd fret. The next chord change, admittedly, it's difficult. C to G. All of your fingers have to come off the strings and have to move. Now, out of all the chord changes, this is the one you're probably going to find the hardest. So I really recommend that you spend some time just strumming C, then just strumming G, like that. Get to the point where you can move all of your fingers at the same time. A good way to practice that is to play the chord, lift your fingers away from the strings, and try and put them all back down at the same time. Do that with the chord which you're finding the slowest to fret. It's probably going to be, well, it could be C or G. So play your chord, make sure it sounds good, take your fingers off, put them back down onto the same strings. And when you take your fingers off, don't throw them away like that completely, because you're going to have to do all that work again to put them back on. Just play the chord, lift them off the strings a little bit, back down, like that. Once you're putting those fingers on, you should be getting faster at switching between them, like that. Okay, so carrying on from where we left off, G goes to E minor. And E minor is, you need to leave your first finger on the A string, G to E minor. And then from there, you go back to A minor again, right back to the start and play it all around. So that's E minor, back to A minor. That's not a very difficult chord change. It depends if you've used these chords before, but one thing you should be doing if you're practicing this pair of chords is leaving your 2nd finger on the D string. Like that. So once you can play those chords, whether you're doing the down and up strumming or just 4 strums on each chord, put the song on. You can skip straight to 52 seconds and play along with the introduction and the start of the verse as well. Keep repeating that until you hear the distorted guitar come in. So I've turned my volume up, put my bridge pickup on, if you've got one you can switch to, and from that point onwards, you need to jump from G up to your 7th fret on your A string. So I've got my 3rd finger on the 7th fret, A string, and I'm going to hit that along with my lower E string. Throw your volume up at that point. And do 8 down strums. Now when you do these 8 down strums, you need to palm mute with your right hand. So to palm mute, you should just rest the side of your hand on the strings just as they come out of the bridge. I'm not going to go into a ton of detail about this in this video because you don't have to do this. It still sounds good if you don't do a palm mute as well. Right, and then this is the chorus, which starts at 2 minutes. So your chorus is using your movable power chord shape. Your movable power chord shape, you've got your 1st, 3rd and 4th fingers on the lowest 3 strings, and your first chord is A5. So it's at your 5th fret. Your frets are 5, 7, 7. And your strumming pattern is just 3 strums in this easier version, like this. So that's the first half of the chorus. Practice that strumming pattern on just 1 chord. It would be a good idea to rewind this video and see if you can play along with me repeating that. What you need to try then is move your power chords. So your next power chord is on the 8th fret. So your first finger needs to go from 5 to 8. 8th fret, that's C5. Go back to where you started for 1 more repetition. And here's a slightly tricky bit. You've got to move that power chord down one string. If you've never moved the power chord from the E to the A string, this is a fairly good song to start out with, because you only move between the strings once and you stay on the same fret. Now when you're changing from one string to another string, make sure that all three fingers move together. Now to begin with, you're probably only going to move two or maybe one of your fingers. One of them might stay on the same string. Don't worry too much about that. Just look at your fingers, see if you can keep them pretty close to the strings as you move. You can practice the chord change just like you've done with the open chords. Just strum each chord once. Practice repeating them. A good tip for when you're playing power chords on your A string as well is try and keep your first finger fairly flat against the strings. What that allows you to do is, if you look at my first finger here, that's the new chord we're playing. Can you see my first finger's touching the thickest string a little bit, just here? That means that if you'll accidentally strum that string, it's impossible not to miss it when you're strumming. It's not impossible, it's just really difficult. If you get your first finger touching that bottom string a little bit, it's not going to ring like this. Now you'll get a lot of that happening when you're starting off with power chords on this string. Keep that first finger flat, that is the best way to avoid getting that horrible noise. Anyway, that's the 5th fret on your A string. You're going to do only one strum on that, and then move up 2 more frets onto 7. And do the normal strumming pattern. 1, 2, 3. From then it all repeats. Instead of going up onto your A string, go down onto an E5 chord. Now, if you've got this far, you can already play this chord. It's the same as E minor, but just strum your low 3 strings. This is the last part again. 5th fret, 8th fret, back down to 5, and then the bottom 3 strings of E minor. Okay, so those are the 2 main parts in Fade to Black. As I said, this is a beginner, easier version of this song. If you're like a huge Metallica fan and you find that this is a little bit like sacrilege because we've changed some of it, that's fine, don't worry about that. There's loads of different ways to play this song. If you find that you've gone through this lesson and you can play the song, you've enjoyed it, but you want to have a few more little tips on how to make it sound a little bit more like the recording, just comment on the video and I can show you some of the other parts in the introduction where we're doing like the hammer-ons. That's nice to add in, and then you can also add some other little bits into the chorus as well if you've got those power chords working. You can add a couple of extra little parts in there. So I hope you found this video useful. At any point in the video, go back, try and play along with me. I'm playing everything at a little bit of a slower speed. You can also have a go at getting the recording on your computer, put it into a free computer program. If you've got Windows, Audacity is really good. Put it into Audacity, go up to Effect, change tempo, slow the track down by like 20% or 15%, and have a go playing along with it that way.